Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, over the weekend, Friday night and Saturday, we had two great GCW shows. We had GCW Look at Me and GCW Effie's Big Gay Brunch 8. Both shows were a lot of fun to watch. Both shows had some really good matches. And the Look at Me show actually had a cool storyline that they've been working on that actually has continued. And I kind of enjoy the way they've been doing some of the shows here lately. I've actually enjoyed Game Changer Wrestling since 2018. So 2023 and 2024, every show I've reviewed right here on the channel. So definitely go back and check all that out. So GCW Look at Me from the 26th, which was Friday night. First match, we had the GCW debut, in-ring debut of AJ Francis going up against the bad boy Joey Janela. The cool thing about this was DJ Clear, the AJ Francis dude, BJ, whatever his name is, he got involved some. You had Joey Janela getting the doors involved, the chairs involved. You had AJ Francis. When he was setting up the door bridges, he kind of looked a little iffy about what he was doing. He actually ended up going through a door bridge at one point. Overall, great match. I ended up giving it 3.5. I mean, it was one of those kind of seeing somebody like an AJ Francis, former WWE guy, in this environment that Joey Janela just kind of, I don't want to say put on the map, but yeah, definitely put on the map and kind of made it cool kind of deal. But yeah, Joey Janela getting the victory there. I give it 3.5. Next up, we had one of the things that I adore about Game Changer Wrestling. We go from a door bridge, chairs involved, to just a Lucha Libre style. Lio Rush and Jack Cartwheel. We had Lucha Libre. We had Lio Rush doing what he does best, high flying top rope, big dives. Jack Cartwheel doing cartwheels, doing his flips over the top rope onto the outside. You almost need an air traffic controller to keep up with these two guys. 3.25 star match, 10 minutes, great little match. Lio Rush getting the victory. Next up, we had a 4-way women's match. Don't get a lot of these in Game Changer Wrestling. All women's matches, especially a 4-way. But we had former TNA Knockouts champion, former AAW Women's champion, former GCW World Heavyweight champion, Masha Slamovich versus one half of Bussy, Alec, one third of Thrusty, Dark Sheik, and Lindsay Snow. Nice little women's 4-way, 8.5 minutes. They all got their good moves in. Masha ended up getting the victory. Ended up giving it 3-star. Next up, we had, I've talked about this in some of these videos, Styles Make Fights. This is literally what we had here. It was a hardcore 6-man tag match. We had 3 of the top hardcore wrestlers in GCW, deathmatch wrestlers. Los Macizos, Ciclope, Miedo, Extremo, teaming up with the ultraviolet champion Rina Yamashita, going up against Gahbage Daddies, Alec, Radrick, and Mr. Danger. 3, best way to say it, Lucha Libre guys in a hardcore 6-way match. Yeah, lots of doors, lots of flying around. When you fly through a door bridge, it can get a little hairy. 3.5 star match. Los Macizos getting the victory with Rina Yamashita over Gahbage Daddies. Next up, we had another Game Changer Wrestling debut. We had Mansoor debut against Tony Deppen. Honestly, it was a good, stable match. It wasn't anything spectacular. The gatekeeper of GCW, Tony Deppen, put Mansoor through his paces. Good little match. He's not a bad little wrestler. We know what he did in WWE, the gimmicks he had and whatnot that didn't work, obviously. But seeing him in Game Changer against Tony Deppen was pretty good. 14-minute match. He held his own. Tony Deppen wins. 2.75 star match. Now, we could say it's what I'm looking for here, a subset of the Bloodline. We could say it is kind of like Bloodline 2.0. As we know, Bullet Club has different little factions throughout wrestling. Could it be part of the Bloodline? They're just on the indies. We're talking about Jacob Fatu and Zilla Fatu. Yeah. cousins of the Usos and Roman. Or sorry, be second cousins of Roman, cousins of the Usos. Their other cousin, Hikole, or not Hikole, he's related to the other Ming and all them. Yeah, there's so many of this family going around. But Jacob Fatu, everyone knows of him if you follow independent wrestling. Him and his cousin Zilla Fatu, Jacob's talked about this and before, about when they were little in Uncle Eddie Rikishi's pool, doing backflips and stuff when the Usos were doing. The Usos would do a little bit, but not like he would, and he literally mastered the backflip because of doing that, playing in the pool with the cousins. They took on one of the best tag teams in independent wrestling, in my opinion. The main event, Jay Lyon, Midas Black, our current House of Glory tag team champions. They actually last year, in the end of 22, matter of fact, the last match that the Briscoes had was against the main event when they beat him for the House of Glory tag team championships. I know personally watching that match and remembering that match, and to me, watching the Briscoes put over the main event, to this day, they are still one of the top tag teams to me because of that moment. And then finding out later that was going to be the Briscoes' last match, yeah, second to none on that. Maybe one of these days I will post that match and do kind of my thoughts on it as it's going on. Maybe we'll do that next year on the anniversary of Jay's passing. But yeah, Jacob Fatu, Zilla Fatu, getting the victory over main event. 3 1/4 star match, 10 minutes. Really great match. Watching Zilla Fatu kind of come into his own as he starts working in the indies and stuff. And what if these guys end up joining The Rock and everything, and they do two separate kind of, I won't say two separate bloodlines, but kind of two different bloodlines. The head of the table, and kind of expand that in WWE with The Rock being on the board now. We'll see if that ever comes to pass, but knowing that there's more Fatus out there that are just as good as their ancestors and their cousins, if not better. Next up, we get Broski. This is the dumbest gimmick ever, but I get it. He's the Broski TV champion now because he's hanging out with Matt Cardona and Steph Delander. Broski Jimmy going up against Jay Vidal, part of TNA Wrestling. Broski Jimmy got the victory. I think 2.5. It was just kind of their match. It's about 5 minutes long. Next up, we had the hardcore match. We had Lucha Libre standout Gringo Loco in a hardcore match against a hardcore veteran, a hardcore god, American Deathmatch Wrestling former champion John Wayne Murdoch. Hardcore match with Gringo Loco and John Wayne Murdoch. This wasn't on my 2024 bingo card, but I hell enjoyed it a lot though. Gringo Loco actually beating John Wayne Murdoch. Had a lot of chairs involved. Obviously it was kind of a watered down of what it could have been, but it was still violent. Gringo Loco getting a victory there over John Wayne. I give it 3.5 star. Next up, we had GCW Tag Titles Online. Champion Violence Ends Forever, which normally they're on the top half of the card. This is weird for them to be on the bottom half of the card. Violence Ends Forever, Dominic and Kevin Koo taking on Culture Inc., Eli Knight, and Malik Bozday. Good match. I ended up giving it 3 1/4. The Violence Ends Forever getting the victory. 13 minutes long. There's parts of this match kind of drug for me, honestly. But Violence Ends Forever is one of the top tag teams, if not the top tag teams on the independents. There's probably a list of a dozen that I've seen throughout the independent scene that are just damn good. I want to see main event versus these guys. Maybe make a ladder match out of or something kind of crazy like that. But I think that would be kind of cool. Violence Ends Forever retaining their titles. I give it 3 1/4. Next up, we had... Yes, this is going to be their names. The American Giant and the local competitor. Minute 14 match, little squash match. I give it a 0.5 star. The American Giant winning. Not even, it was nothing. Next up, we had GCW World Title Line. Champion Blake Christian going up against Marcus Mathers. Shane Mercer out there with Blake Christian. The match itself was okay. Blake Christian retained his title, 2 3/4 star, but the aftermath, Blake attacking Marcus Mathers. So is Shane Mercer did. Janela comes out, challenges Blake Christian, says he should be champion. Well, I don't know if they announced when it was going to happen. I didn't catch all that, or if it's kind of TBA kind of deal. But obviously Joey Janela, kind of the leader of GCW, eventually he needs to get a title shot. But our main event, we have Effie versus Mance Warner. We have heel Mance. We go back into last year. Mance Warner turned on Effie, turned on the Second Gear crew, which Bussy's a part of, and challenged Bussy to this fight. More than just a brawl. We had doors, we had chairs, we had just blood, we had just... Mance Warner pulled out a freaking gas can and dumped it on Effie at one point, and had a lighter. We had Dark Sheik come out to help Effie. Mansoor attacks her, dumps gas on her. Allie comes out trying to contain the situation, trying to convince Mansoor not to do this. Mansoor pulls his lighter out. About that time, the entire locker room runs out. Mansoor runs off. We ended up in a no contest. We had a 21-minute just fight between these two because of the animosity from Mansoor turning on Effie. I give it 3.5 on a no contest. This storyline continues because even Mansoor said when he turned, the next show, he was like, my only goal at this point is to be GCW World Champion. So is Effie. Effie, when they had the Rumble match, the Rumble winner got a title shot. Effie was the last person out, but Mansoor hadn't come out yet, comes out and throws Effie over and costs Effie. So Mansoor gets the shot. So you got Blake Christian, you got Joey Janela, the bad boy, you got Effie, you got Mance Warner, you got all four of these vying for that title. You got Shane Mercer, the muscle for Blake Christian. You know you have Richard Holiday that shows up occasionally. He's teaming with Charles Mason now, who's got Paro. So that all is going to blow up. You got, obviously, Jeremy Murdoch, former champion. You got all kinds of... Matt Cardona, former champion. Nick Gage, obviously, a former champion. So a lot over the next few months is going to really explode for GCW in this title hunt. And especially as we get closer to Mania. We already got the shows announced for Mania Week in the Collective. That's always exciting. We got a ton of shows between now and the Collective. So... the title picture for GCW is just so much going on, so many moving parts right now. I can't wait to see where this goes, what happens with Effie and Mansoor. But that is GCW. Look at me. Everyone, take a look if you haven't already. It's on Thriller Plus. Definitely every show is on there. Almost from the beginning. The very first GCW show was Nick Gage Invitational Uno. I've actually watched that show. All the collectives are on there, which I've got to finish watching some of those, the old ones. But hey, it's definitely... GCW is growing. Obviously, we talk about WWE, obviously, is number 1. And then we talk about AEW being number 2 because they have the national TV deal. TNA is making a resurgence. They're number 3 in the world. In the U.S., I would say GCW, on the volume of shows, the ability to watch their shows, Thriller Plus, they're probably number 4. They are the modern-day ECW. Brett Lauderdale isn't quite Paul Heyman. I'm not going to go there. But if Brett Lauderdale could get somebody like a Paul Heyman or somebody like that kind of mindset with him, sky's the limit for this company. I'm telling you that right now. But yeah, so definitely great show. As always, stay tuned to Robert Sports Show for Effie's Big Gay Brunch 8 review. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. And don't just have a great day, have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports content.